So a quick video on creation of QGIS maps. This is the use of LiDAR data and the georeferencing alongside terrain maps and satellite imagery and overlaying them so that they're equally georeferenced. So we're using a free piece of software, open source software, and I've downloaded the long-term most stable release 360, and for our purposes I think that's going to be perfectly adequate. So you download it and install it, and it looks something like this when we have an untitled project. I've created some projects before. Here is one that is some research work on the railways that were created for the logistics purposes of creating reservoirs. And we've got different layers turned on in these different grids. I'll go into this a bit more. But we have, I've created a series of folders or groups down here. And I've named them. So we're in the Walshaw-Dean. We've got the digital terrain map. Terrain is the surface without the trees and without the buildings. I've also got the same grid, a digital surface map, not made visible. And this is with the trees and with the buildings. I've selected this and I've made a hillshade, and if I turn hillshade on, it looks like that. We just go in to have a little look, and I've also created some contours at different intervals. They default to 10 meters, and I've made this one 5 meters, and you can see we've got that. I've also got a watered down, a transparent 20% Open Street Maps layer, which I've got from here, and this puts a bit of colour. It puts a colour wash over the top. If you double click these layers, you get the properties. It's going to take a bit of time, but I've also got a Google satellite map which is 100% solid, so it's going to cover the whole of this grid. Oh, sorry, it's going to cover the whole of all the grids, and that's by double clicking this here. Okay, so that's the process where we are at the minute. So we're just going to go to New, and we'll just save that. So we're going to end up with QGIS when we've opened it at this point here. What we need is data. Now, if you do a survey for Environment Agency LiDAR download, you will come up with a LiDAR composite or something like this, where it is the data.gov.uk dataset. Just click that and it takes you to a LiDAR page. It doesn't matter whether it's a national one or whatever. What you're doing is going to the survey download. So it opens up a map. And as you zoom in to your particular area, let's just go back. This is one I did before. Let's start again. Okay. So it shows you a map of the country, and you just zoom in to where you want. So Bradford here, Hebden Bridge. We're looking for Thornton. Now I do know that around Thornton there isn't the national LiDAR survey data done, so there's Thornton. So Ogden Rock is somewhere around here. Ogden Clough. Okay, so I'm going to get some data around Ogden Kirk, which I suspect is round about here, and I don't know if it's in this grid, or in the parlance of this map, the tiles. Okay, so I can either just draw an area around here, or I can go to this rectangle and click, 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 click. But basically what it's doing is asking you to draw around an area, and it decides, oh, I'll find everything in this tile, different accuracy, different resolution, different survey years, and I'll do the same for this one. So let's get available tiles. Let's see what they have. And I already know there isn't the National LiDAR survey, but we do have some 1 meter tiles from 2017, I think. The Burnley grid covers these tiles here, and I do think this is quite patchy. I've looked at these before. So what do you want? Do you want a surface map that includes buildings, trees, etc.? Probably. We don't want the point cloud. I'm going for the composite. I think that's been processed. I've had a look at the aerial photography. It's not particularly brilliant. So we'll go for the surface map. Any options? Only 2017. And what are the options with the accuracy? The smaller the number, the more accurate it is. And I can tell you that the 50 centimeters was taken recently due to flooding, and it only covers a narrow band. So I'll go with the 1 meter, but you might find that you have to come back to this and get the 2 meter. So what we're doing is downloading these tiles. This is going to take some time, so I'm just going to stop this. What we do is we download the tiles, we put them somewhere where we need them to be, unzip them, and then I'll show you how that works. So here's Blue Peter fashion. Here's one I made before. So this is a folder. It's actually on the cloud. It's in Box, and these are the actual unzipped files, or the unzipped tiles that came out of the Environment Agency download page. So in there, there's a file, a folder, and then 2 files. And it's the TIFF that you want, and what you're doing is basically dragging that and dropping it down. And because this is georeferenced, it knows exactly where in the world this is going to be. So you get a bit of a view. Now, what we've got here is Bradford. We've got this OpenStreetMap at 20%, so hopefully you can just see Bradford here. Thornton is somewhere down here, and Haworth is up here. The TIFF file, if you're lucky, is a full tile. And this is all the data in that grid. However, historically, as you can see, some of the data has been done just where it was needed. So it's generally in the valley bottoms and round reservoirs. And the more resolution the finer you get, 1/4 of a meter, 1/2 a meter, you find that it's just a strip, or it's just following the valley bottom, and you will get these gaps. So to the left of this line is the Burnley grid, which is a huge section that is a 1 meter coverage of every single square meter. To the right, we've got 2015, 2017 at different resolutions. So you don't always get what you want. So once we're in here, you can see down this side, I can close layers on and off. The layers are called groups. If I go to a blank area and add a group, I can then call it test folder. Test folder. Okay, and then when I make, let's say, double click a Google Roads map, it puts it at the top. It covers everything over the top. But let's say I didn't want it there. I could drag it into this group. So now I've got the ability to open and close groups. I've also got the ability to turn on the visibility of the folders and everything in or just individual ones. I double-clicked Google Satellite, and that gave me this layer at the top here. It sometimes takes a bit of time to load all the data. We've got quite a big satellite area here. I double-clicked OpenStreetMap. Okay, so there we have Google Satellite, and you can see the sort of the aberrations where the software has matched different surveys. I'll turn that off. What I did with the OpenStreetMap was drag it below Google Satellite. These layers can be dragged up and down, and if you double click it, you get these properties. So here we've got transparency. I can make this a little more solid and apply, and this should come a little more visible. Okay, so we'll just click OK with that, and then what I've done is made a group and then renamed it. So Hebden Bridge is this tile down here, and if we turn the visibility of that off, it turns everything off. And what I've done is imported the digital surface map, should I want to use it, the digital terrain map. Now I've got some contours. To do the contours, you click on the layer you want, go to raster, extraction, and click contour. So that's that. I also want the hillshade, which is not here. So if I go to the terrain map, go to raster, analysis, and hillshade, it's going to give me basically what the grey terrain would look like if the sun was at 45-degree angle in the top left-hand corner. So you pick the azimuth, the angle north, south, east, west, so it's in the top left, it's at 45 degrees to the horizontal, and it goes away and makes that happen. It will put it on a layer above, so it will put it between DTM and the contours layer. And if you do this in the wrong order, you do the hillshade first and then the contours, you get something like that, where the hillshade is covering the contours. So the contours are just lines, whereas the hillshade is a solid layer. And if you double click contours, you're able to change the color. If you give it a name somewhere in here, it might be if you have to click this little funny link here. It opens up an area where if you give it a name, it then saves it local to where your all your files are. And when you save this, save as, it gives it a project location. So the way to navigate this is to use the pan, to use the plus, so you can click, or you can drag an area and it will zoom to that area, or you can come out of it by just clicking the minus. So those are the main things in GIS, and we've done all of that in 15 minutes. The reason I'm doing this, just out of interest, is to look at railways that were built to build the reservoirs. And there was a railway come down, where is it, down here somewhere, along here into this quarry, and you can just see the footings of this bridge. This is a terrain map, so we see the footings cut into the side, and there's some stone piers here. So these are treated as buildings, so it's removed them. But we can see a siding and a railway line into this quarry, and the railway line coming along here, bit of a bridge here, and then across there. So that's what I'm doing all this for. I hope you get some use out of it. Where you get your LiDAR data from other countries, I don't know.